Yo, boys, what is going on? It's your boy GZTV. We are back with Sports Talk Monday. Monday Night Football just got out, and man, I can't believe we are already done with week 11 or 14. Not week 11, week 14. We're already done with week 14 here in the NFL, and there's a lot to talk about, a lot of games that happened, a lot of players standing out, and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm having a pretty good day today. I got home. I obviously made the NBA YoungBoy video and the Birdman video, as you guys saw earlier. And I watched some football tonight. It was a pretty good game. Kyler Murray almost pulled off the late heroics. 4 onside kicks recovered this weekend. That's a big stat for the NFL. A lot of playoff stuff on the line. Jacksonville Jaguars are eliminated from the playoffs. The Lions aren't, actually. So let's just start off with that Monday game. I usually start with the game that just ended. We were talking about the Rams and the Cardinals. Man, that Rams defense played insane against Kyler Murray, causing 2 picks. 23 points for the Cardinals really isn't that good. And, looking here, Stafford, he had 287 for 3 touchdowns, lit it up in prime time. Kyler Murray had 383 for 2 interceptions. Kyler Murray was carrying it on offense. He had 61 yards rushing. Sony Michel, another pretty impressive night. 20 carries for 79 yards, coming off like 120 yards rushing. Cooper Kupp, he's continuing to prove that he is the best receiver in the league. He's the best in receptions, receiving touchdowns, receiving yards. He clears the board there, 123 for a touchdown. And AJ Green actually outshines D Hop this game, which I was pretty surprised by. He had 7 receptions for 102 yards, so that's a pretty good divisional battle. I'm happy the Rams won it because my Packers are now the first seed in the NFC. Moving on to the Thursday primetime game, we had Steelers and Vikings. Vikings beat the Steelers by 8. They deny a last play pass in the end zone. Vikings fans, you guys got the win, but coming off of a loss to the Lions, you almost choked to the Steelers. It's kind of crazy how that triangle works. Steelers and Lions tied, and the Vikings lost to the Lions, and now the two teams that can't beat the Lions played. Ben Roethlisberger threw for 308, 3 touchdowns and an interception. One game he'll do bad, another he'll light it up. Kirk Cousins 216 for 2 touchdowns, yet 2 interceptions. Kirk Cousins has been incredible this year, though. And Dalvin Cook having possibly one of the best performances by a running back all year. 205 for 2 touchdowns. On the other end, the rookie Najee Harris, 94 yards and a touchdown. Receiving wise, pretty decent battle. KJ Osborne, 83 yards and a touchdown. And Chase Claypool having one of his best games in a while. He came up with 8 receptions and 93 yards. So good one by the Vikings. They're kind of moving into playoff position. I think they have a wild card. Let's move on to Sunday, where we're going to start by talking about my Green Bay Packers playing the Chicago Bears. What a primetime game. Very entertaining. I watched it with my friends. Rodgers throws 4 touchdown passes. Packers beat the Bears by 15. A lot of special teams issues for the Packers. Our returners dropping the ball, us giving up a return touchdown, and many other good returns. Aaron Rodgers, again, 341 for 4 touchdowns. He's been lighting it up the last few games. I have loved every second. And Justin Fields, pretty impressive night for him. 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He runs a lot, too. He led rushing wise, he led the whole game in rushing. He had 74 yards rushing off of 9 carries. A.J. Dillon continuing to be a beast, 15 carries, 71 yards. I'm forever grateful for having a guy like that. Bird had 2 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Jakeem Grant, I want to give a shout out to him as well. He was playing good. Devontae Adams, a casual, 10 receptions, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So a great win by the Packers over let's move on to the next game. We got the Ravens and the Browns. Garrett backs up his words. Browns hang on to beat the Ravens by 2 points, and let's remember that Lamar Jackson was hurt this game, so Huntley, the second string, took over, and he actually played really good today. 27 for 38, 270, and a touchdown. Baker Mayfield's getting kind of better. He only had 190 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns and 1 pick, so I guess it was a solid game. Deontay Freeman for Baltimore, he had 64 yards, and Nick Chubb had 59, so not the craziest game rushing-wise. Receiving-wise, though, Mark Andrews, one of the most reliable tight ends in the NFL, 115 for a touchdown. And Peoples-Jones, he had a really good snag. Highlight reel worthy, he had 90 yards there. And, Cleveland Browns are revitalizing hopes to take over the AFC North. The AFC North, yeah. They're definitely revitalizing the hopes. They're reviving it, good effort from them. Obviously hurt Lamar. We got them. Packers got them next week, so hopefully he stays hurt. I don't want to pray on someone's downfall, but yeah, it's tough. Moving on to Jaguars Titans. Titans dominate the Jags, beating them by 20, get their first home shutout since 2000. 21 years since their last home shutouts. Trevor Lawrence threw 221 for 4 picks. Tannehill having another pretty garbage game, low key, 191. He gets carried. I don't care. The leading rusher was James Robinson with 4 yards rushing. This is truly a impoverished organization, and Foreman had 47 yards and a touchdown. Receiving wise, we saw Marvin Jones get 70 of those 221 receiving yards, and Swime had a 45-yard game there. Urban Meyer, a lot of stuff coming up with him. Marvin Jones was complaining about him. Some position coaches, a lot of faculty members. He is definitely on the brinks of getting fired. We'll have to see what happens by Christmas time. That'll be really the big thing. If he doesn't get fired Christmas, he probably won't get fired for the rest of the season. Anyways, moving on to Raiders Chiefs. Chiefs roll to record-setting 48-9 victory over Raiders. Derek Carr, man, 263 yards, touchdown and a pick. I mean, pretty disappointing there. That kind of sucks, man. I'd hope he'd get in the end zone more times, but Patrick Mahomes, 258 for 2 touchdowns. Derek Gore had 66 yards and a touchdown. When I saw that highlight, I thought it was Frank Gore at first. I was like, oh my goodness. Josh Jacobs, very quiet day, 24 yards rushing. Tyreek Hill, he had 4 receptions for 76 yards. Pretty solid day there. And Hunter Renfrow, man, he is putting in the work this season. He gets 13 catches for 117 and a touchdown. Despite the loss, Hunter Renfrow out of Clemson, that man's putting up the work, and just a very bad loss for the Raiders organization. They've had a lot of drama this year, as have the Jaguars. But Raiders, multiple guys have been under fire, not just their coach. But anyways, moving on to Saints and Jets. Saints end a 5-game skid with a 21-point victory over the skidding Jets. 2 very faltering franchises, obviously both have losing records. Taysom Hill came out and put up 175 yards. At least he didn't throw interceptions. Zach Wilson put up 202 yards. At least he didn't throw any interceptions. No passing touchdowns. Zach Wilson was also the leading rusher for the Jets, so I guess give him credit. He was pretty much their offense out there, 33 yards. Alvin Kamara, man. Alvin Kamara is back in prime form. 120 yards for a touchdown. What a game. He's back. He's out of his injuries. A random guy from the Saints, Vinette. Shout out to him, though. He had 44 yards. And Barrios from the Jets. His name's been called a decent amount of times here. He's had 52 yards receiving. 2 poverty organizations. I don't want to talk about it. Jameis Winston, if he was playing right now, I'd imagine the Saints would have 2 or 3 more games won. But can't really control that. Let's move on into Cowboys and Washington. Cowboys deliver on a coach's guarantee, and they beat the rival Washington. Dak Prescott, man, you are struggling right now. 211, a touchdown, and 2 picks. You've almost cost the game for the Dallas Cowboys, but hey, a win is a win. You see all these reporters like, oh, Dak Prescott, he should be benched or something, And I'm like, no. If you get the win, it's whatever. Taylor Heinicke, he sucked it up. He sucked. Micah Parsons proving that he is the rookie defensive player of the year. Heinicke throwing 122 for a touchdown and a pick is very unimpressive, considering what he's done against very great quarterbacks in the league. Zeke had a nice little 45 yards rushing, nothing special. Antonio Gibson, nothing special, 36 yards. Sims had a great catch on Trayvon Diggs, and he ended up with 3 catches, 69, and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, pretty solid, 7 catches for 61 yards. But yeah, Dak Prescott does need to turn it around, and this defense for the Cowboys is proving to be lethal. So let's move on into Falcons and Panthers. Matt Ryan and the Falcons stay hot on the road. They beat the Panthers by 8. Matt Ryan, he only put up 190 and a touchdown, but he only completed 19 for 28. So, for the touches that game, Matt Ryan played well. Cam Newton, on the other hand, I can't say the same. 178 yards, a pick. He was making all sorts of bad reads. The games between these 2 quarterbacks were very close, but on paper. But when you watch the game, you're like, yeah, Cam Newton is trash right now. He needs to get it going. But Cam Newton did have 47 yards through 10 carries and a touchdown, so that's something to add to his plus. Cordero Patterson proving he's one of the most versatile players in the league, putting up 58 yards and a touchdown. And Gage for the Falcons putting up 64 receiving, and Robbie Anderson, 84 yards and a touchdown. That was really the one bright spot for that was really the one bright spot. PJ Walker came in and gave him the ball. So Robbie Anderson. Let's move on to Seahawks and Texans. Wilson has 2 touchdown passes. Russell Wilson has 2 touchdown passes as the Seahawks beat the Texans by 20. Now, this is the Seattle Seahawks team that everyone knows and is familiar with. You know, Russell Wilson 260 for 2 touchdowns. And man, Davis Mills, despite only 1 touchdown, that man put up 331 yards. He kind of cooked this Seattle defense, if I do say so. Man, but Rashad Penny, rushing wise, I mean, this is one of the best games of his career. He puts up 137 yards through just 16 carries for 2 touchdowns. Burkhead, man, 40 yards. I mean, I guess that's not bad. Tyler Lockett, though, this offense was firing on all cylinders. Bombs after bomb from Russell Wilson. 5 receptions, 142 and a touchdown. And Brandon Cooks had 8 receptions for 101. So honestly, a pretty good game offensively. It's just Texans defense sucks more than Seattle. So let's move on to Lions and Broncos. Broncos honored Demaryius Thomas again. Rest in peace with a 28-point rout of the Lions. Obviously, the Lions are the worst team in the NFL. The worst team in the NFL isn't even the Jaguars. RIP DT. I mean, it's a perfect game. I mean, you're playing the Vikings. You're almost guaranteed to win the game. It's nice to just get out there, get a win. The week after, the game after Demaryius Thomas died. Rest in peace. 33 years old, so young. Hall of Famer. He's got to be a Hall of Famer, man. Even if it's just an honorary nod. But Teddy Bridgewater, 179 for 2 touchdowns. Jared Goff, 215 for 1 touchdown and a pick. Reynolds was the running back for Detroit. He had 83. And Melvin Gordon had a nice 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think this was his return. St. Brown for Detroit, 73 yards. And Noah Fant, 51 yards. Bad game, but a positive is that Denver is starting to get their weapons back. They're starting to get their mojo, so you gotta love to see that. Moving on to Giants and Chargers. Nothing to really talk about this game headline-wise. It was just kind of one of those meh games. Mike Glennon, garbage, 17 for 36, under 50% completion, and when you do that in the NFL, it's not a good look. Justin Herbert, though, he lights it up, 275 for 3 touchdowns, and obviously Glennon, 191, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. I think Mike Glennon also ran it in, which was interesting. Saquon Barkley, I mean, he's getting better and better, 64 yards rushing. And Eckler, though, man, he's a fantasy god out here, 67 yards for a touchdown. And Gayton for Los Angeles, I'm not familiar. He had 87 yards and a touchdown. And Kyle Rudolph, the vet from the Vikings, had 2 catches for 66 yards. It's always cool to see a former division rival guy go to a different team and kill. That's honestly really cool. I'm very familiar with Rudolph, obviously being a Packers fan. But let's move on to the 2 OT games. The late window is full of great games. Niners, Cincinnati. Garoppolo throws a 12-yard touchdown as the Niners beat the Bengals in overtime. And let's just talk about this Brandon Ayuk catch and score. Because, I mean, you have to be so athletic, so balanced. I mean, that play was incredible. What a walk-off touchdown. Jimmy Garoppolo, 296 for 2 touchdowns off of 27 for 41. Joe Burrow played good as well. 348 for 2 touchdowns off of 25 for 34. This was a good game, folks. Two pretty much powerhouse teams in the NFL, I would consider them. Wilson had 56 yards rushing. Mixon had 58. Not the best running from either team. George Kittle, coming off of 185 yards last week, he comes out, makes an insane catch, clutch plays, 151 yards through 13 receptions for a touchdown for a tight end. That's a lot of yards for that many catches. And T. Higgins, another great tight end, 5 receptions, 114. So it was just the battle, man. That was a great game. Anyways, moving on to the next and final game we're going to talk about, we got the Bills and Buccaneers. Tom Brady's 700th touchdown pass lifts the Bucs from the Bills by 6 in OT. Brashad Perriman, I think is his name. He caught it from Tom Brady. Tom Brady had 363 for 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen 308 for 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. Another really good game, like I said. Josh Allen 109 for a touchdown. Leonard Fournette 113 and a touchdown. Josh Allen had 100 yards rushing, 300 yards passing. So honestly, his game was more impressive than Tom Brady despite an interception. Leonard Fournette, that's that LSU Leonard Fournette we all know. 113 yards and a touchdown, man. Stephon Diggs, pretty solid 7 receptions for 74 yards. And Chris Godwin going crazy out there, 10 receptions, 105. But Perriman's honestly the MVP. That rack play he had at the end where he scored Tom Brady's 700th touchdown deserves a little MVP. He deserves the game ball. That's awesome. No, Tom Brady's going to get it. That was his 700th. But anyways, that's the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy my sports content. Don't worry, boys. This week is going to be full of it. I think tomorrow I'm thinking about getting to the first Carter from Lil Wayne. I've already kind of listened to it a little bit, but we need to review it. It is Christmas season, boys. We got the Dude, I keep pointing the wrong way. We got the Christmas tree up right there. Christmas season. Stay tuned. We're gonna have a Guardians of the Galaxy gameplay tomorrow as well, so please tune in. It's gonna be quite the day. Content all weeks. We're gonna be doing a lot of new album reviews and whatnot. I just appreciate all your guys' support. The new Music Friday stuff is going crazy. That's what you guys seem to like. The music. I set up a bunch of music, disc and vinyls and stuff in the background. Kind of accommodate that idea. But right now we're talking about sports today. But we'll get back to music eventually tomorrow. So